Hi, I'm Dayton. Sometimes I wonder who I want to talk to late at night, not in a weird way, but in a I want to talk about the video game industry way. I think about prolific people in the industry a lot as well, and one person that has always fascinated me would be a man named Miller Ross. Miller Ross single-handedly played PR for a little game called Avengers. Yes, the game that shot itself in the foot and also jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge by itself. Anyway, Miller has been around the block when it comes to leaking and covering lots of games. So, I thought it would be fun to have a discussion with him. Alrighty, what is going on? I'm with a very, very exciting guest that I've been following for a very long time. We talked a little bit before this, but I'm with Miller Ross. I don't know really how to introduce you, Miller. I always want to call you the Avengers guy and now the Marvel Rivals guy. But yeah, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. It's good to talk to you.
Yes.
And yeah, it's been a long road, honestly. I've worn a few hats at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely most of my coverage now centers around Rivals. And I think that's become my calling card as my platform's grown. But it always warms my heart to get the Avengers name drop in there. You know, that's always a good way to get some cred with me for sure.
Yeah, I wanna dive into that because we've talked a little bit behind the scenes, and you've been public about pivoting from leaking and kind of being a PR guy, right, for NetEase, which I find fascinating. Which I haven't seen you really talk about that with anybody else, and I find that extremely fascinating that you've done that. But before we get into all of that, because I do want to talk about that, how did you find yourself in this? Like, how did you find yourself covering Avengers and getting into the internet space and going through files? I don't know if you've ever really talked about that.
Well, a lot of it was, I think, a tale as old as time for creators online. It was just COVID, you know,
Really?
like
Okay.
we had more time than sense.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know. I'm the kind of person where it's hard for me to see a roadblock and not want to cross it somehow. And so when it came to Avengers, there was less to digest than satisfied my appetite. And I wanted to know more. And so nothing was going to stop me.
Yeah.
One way or another, I had to know more. And so at first, obviously, that just became like simple data mining. And my skills and network sort of expanded as necessary in that pursuit. And then obviously when the game finally ended service,
Rest in peace, Avengers.
yeah, I mean, I'm still in that headspace of like, oh, that could have been you. Like every No Man's Sky update, I'm like, oh, what could have been? But yeah, no, I mean, there was nothing was gonna stop me from learning more, and so everything just sort of expanded in pursuit of that. And then, yeah, ultimately I broke the story of the game's end of service, which, I don't know, I still have thoughts about, but, and then, at the very short stint at Suicide Squad, and here I am with Rivals.
That's funny that you talk about Suicide Squad because I mean, I played a lot of Avengers. I put a lot of hours into it, more than I should have. But I really liked Suicide Squad. I was a bit of a weirdo, and I followed you through Suicide Squad as well. But that's how you got your start, was Avengers, and like that was the first thing you ever covered, and you just covered it on Twitter, right?
Yeah, I have no formal training. I like either on the data side or in like journalism side. No communications background of any kind. I actually went to school for film.
Really? I didn't know that. Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I didn't graduate, but I did go to school for it. And yeah, it kind of fell in my lap. I mean, I don't know. I'm the kind of guy where I can get very hyper fixated on something.
Yeah.
And it was just right place, right time with Avengers for me. I was a huge MCU fan. Like I've been a fan of Marvel my whole life, one way or another, be it like the X-Men the animated series. I think what got me into the MCU to start with was probably Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too. Like around the end.
That's an interesting place to dive into the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, I was a TV baby. And so having a presence, like having one foot in that pond is a lot to get me invested.
Yeah, yeah.
And, you know, some sort of like pseudo X-Files serial, I'm in.
Who is the hero
And
that you love off of Agents of Shield that you always want in Rival? Who is it? It's Quake. Yeah,
Quake.
okay. I know that's always your thing in chat and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And it's funny actually. I still see people pick up Agents of Shield, and her identity in the show was a twist in season 2 that she had
Okay.
been sort of like, who is she up to that point?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's still so fun watching people discover that.
That's so funny. Yeah, I also grew up with TV. I love like Buffy, Angel. I grew up with
Right.
with a lot of that, and Joss Whedon before he was who he is now. But
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he wrote a lot of great stuff. So
I mean, the MCU owes Joss Whedon a muffin basket.
they owe
Like
him quite a lot.
yeah, I mean, I think it picked up a lot of cues from his time writing comics, even
Mhm.
like around the genesis of the MCU. And then obviously him stepping into like a lead creative seat end of phase 1. It's interesting. And then obviously Agents of Shield with his family, Jed Whedon and Marissa
Yeah.
Tonkarian. His DNA is all over it.
Yeah, and it's fascinating too that he went. I mean, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, give him DC, I would have been like, yeah, of course, like he would be fine. And then,
Right.
of course, the Whedon cut happens, and that story wrote itself, kind of like how Avengers did with Crystal Dynamics. But cool. Yeah. Well, I kind of want to dive into what does the transition look like for you with going from leaking everything to not anymore, and kind of working with NetEase, and how does that work? Are you working with NetEase, and how's that working, or how has it worked?
Well, I will say my career, like as far as what pays my bills, I'm under an NDA,
Okay.
so I can't really talk too much about it. That sounds like sort of leading considering the conversation, but believe me, it's not what it
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah. No. No. No.
Um, yeah, as far as like my transition to something more official, even just as like somebody in the partner program as a creator,
Hmm.
um, that was something that I'd always pursued dating back to Avengers. Like my having a platform and my acquiring information versus my disseminating it are two different pursuits. And
Totally.
so my first priority was always to learn and being involved in the community and having that knowledge, and also seeing people sort of trying to manipulate the community with like fake leaks and whatnot, is what pushed me to disseminate that information publicly.
Yeah.
But to be in a situation where I couldn't do that because I'm on the team, and as a result I get to learn more,
Yeah.
is always something
Yeah.
that's been like a titillating prospect for me.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, I mean, back in year 1 of Avengers, I was pitching that to everybody. Ended up finding out years later too that actually I had some men on the inside that were pushing for me as well.
To
But
be a part of the team at Crystal Dynamics, or
to be like a partnered creator, as it were.
okay, cool.
And
Did they
and
have
just
other people doing that?
eventually, yes.
Hmm.
I think with a lot of games, they sort of have like an informal, cabal of creators to
Hmm.
start. But as you know, a very they wanted to stick it in for the long haul. So that was on the list of things to do,
Yeah.
was to make sort of a formal creator program, and I think they did get one. Around the time that the leadership sort of baton got passed, and but it was quite modest.
Yeah. I always found it, like I said, like I'm re-saying it, but I always found it fascinating, and I kind of have it written down here. Has it been hard though, going from, because you want to learn? I think a lot of, I guess I would say that you're a journalist of some sort, right? And you always want to learn, and by leaking stuff and going through files, you're learning. Does it suck not to be able to share what you're learning with rivals?
It doesn't. I do
Mhm.
want to rewind really quick. Actually, I
Yeah. No,
forgot.
go for it.
No, they definitely did had have a legit creator program at the start.
Okay.
Because it's sort of what happened was that it fell apart over time. When the leadership switched over, there wasn't a lot of passion towards it. There wasn't a sense of this is something that we need to keep going.
Is that
And
switchover?
so,
Sorry to interrupt. Is that
oh
switchover
no.
with Embracer? Is that what you're? Was that what you're talking
No,
about?
when
Okay. Or
so
leadership? Sorry.
well, when the game launched, a lot of the leadership was immediately moved to other projects or let go because they were sort of there on a contractual basis.
Hmm.
I'm thinking of like Sean SKG, um off the top of my head. The
That's a lot
gentleman
of
whose name I'm
names.
forgetting.
Yep.
Yeah, the gentleman whose name I'm forgetting
Yep.
that was famous at that point for doing the God of War combat system, who at that
Oh,
point was the
yes.
combat director.
Yes.
He left around launch. Again, these are like I think mostly down to contracts.
Yeah.
But then going into like post immediately post War for Wakanda, there was a second sort of shedding of that leadership as they were moved over to Perfect Dark.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, like Scott Amos, is it Scott Amos that I'm thinking of? Was oh gosh, that's probably the wrong name. But anyways, whoever
Are
was
you
the
referring to the combat designer for God of War?
no, I'm thinking of lovely French Canadian gentleman who was, I think, officially his job title was Warzone director or
Oh, okay.
Warzone designer.
Oh,
Anyways, he
for
was
yeah.
captain of the ship at that point
Okay.
around War for Wakanda age. He got moved over to Perfect Dark with a few people in sort of the leadership structure at that point, which is when they passed the baton a third time to Brian Wagner, who they'd poached.
Yes. I remember Brian.
And
Yes.
yes, and who was sort of from Marvel Heroes Omega fame at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was when that happened, there was really nobody left that desired to have a creator program for any reason.
Yeah.
And so it just sort of languished and floundered until until the game died. But it was really sort of homeless for a while at that point.
Yeah.
But anyways, you yeah, sorry, I wanted
No.
to correct that. I
No. Yeah.
seemed
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm the Avengers historian, so I try
You
to.
are, and that's why I want to pick your brain. And I know a lot of people have, but I'm more interested in kind of this sounds awful, but like what it did to you in the sense of like at the end of Avengers, where like when it ended, were you scared? Like I mean, were you just like, what do I do? Because I've been covering this for so. I'm sure you had I mean, you had a relationship with this game, right? I mean, that's how you were known. Like Greg Miller would talk about you and Kind of Funny, be like Miller Ross. That is why I'm excited for Avengers. I mean, you played PR for this game, that a weird niche community loved, right?
Yeah, and I was very proud to be a part of that community. As modest as it was, they meant a lot to me. Um, I don't know. It was weird. It was a few years of wake up, start working, and pass out, and
Mm.
that was just my day. Again, COVID really helped with that.
I
But
forget this timeline in my head is that Avengers was very COVID heavy. I forget that a lot, and which is like a huge part of the development, but it really was, yeah.
yeah, they end of like 2019, they were definitely behind schedule,
Yeah.
but they were very hopeful for I think like what was it, a June release or an April release somewhere in there. And it was I mean frankly if they'd all been in the office that whole time it was a pipe dream. But then COVID hit and it was just immediately clear they couldn't. And so it was I think a pushback to September and even still that was a nightmare. And then there was this canceled E3 thing that they had on the schedule and yeah, it was an awkward time to look back on Avengers aside. But no, I mean I definitely built now to a certain extent my entire career around Avengers. So yeah, it means so much to me.
Mhm.
And it was surreal watching it go.
Yeah.
I think it's there. I remember when War for Wakanda came out, saying this is the beginning of the end, and it
Mhm.
was I was. If you were there for it, I was not a doomer. I was eternally optimistic.
You're
There
very
was just
optimistic, yeah.
there was something on the wall about that moment that was like it's over,
Yeah.
and ultimately, I think that did come to pass.
Yeah, I remember where I was when I of course saw the trailer for War of Wakanda. And yeah, I remember I was in the gym parking lot. I was leaving the gym and I remember they had really I don't know what they had done. They had done an interview or something to talk about War of Wakanda. And I remember watching it and like this is just what they have left, right? Like that was kind of the feeling of like this is what they're pushing out so they can kind of end this. Um but yeah, I mean, yeah, rest in peace, Avengers. And I've just always found it fascinating that is kind of what started your career. And I didn't know that that's like kind of where is that where you started data mining? I mean, I didn't really realize that.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
when I was a kid, I was into like sprite art.
Yeah.
And like the intersection of sprite art and fan game engines, like Mugen and RPG Maker. And so the idea of like data mining for assets
Mm,
had come up to that point, and I had a little bit of experience with it. But that was really the extent of it.
yeah.
I definitely don't have an IT background. I know a few people now that are in that space that I consider like even amongst themselves, I think like cream of the crop geniuses.
Yeah.
And it's so surreal having those conversations because
Yeah.
it's
No, I
like,
bet.
wow, I was completely out of my depths, completely out of my depths.
Do you think
And
if you
also
would
too,
have? Oh, sorry. Go
uh,
ahead.
and if I may,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was also using tools, like over the counter tools that were designed by, I want to say the guy's name was Ghostblade. And they were made for obviously this Avengers was the last game made with Crystal Dynamics proprietary engine that dated back to like Gex 2 on the PS1. And so it was the Tomb Raider community that had made these tools, and they just had themselves no interest in in touching Avengers with it.
Yeah.
And and yeah, no, I'm so grateful for them and have gotten to speak to them as well after the fact. And it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, it's funny that you talk about this is kind of off topic, but it's funny that you talk about the Tomb Raider community because there is one. And I streamed the remake or the remasters that came out, and I had like a weird amount of viewers come in there, and there's like a giant community of Tomb Raider people that I did not know
Hmm.
existed. Like it's huge, and it was very bizarre to me when I streamed those
Yeah,
games.
it's a big community. It's a
Yeah.
very active community. I mean, it's funny because the franchise is sort of in like a dormant state right now.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, leading up to something quite big, it's sort of
Yeah.
the eye of the storm in that sense. But nevertheless, it will catch you off guard to sort
Yeah.
of venture into that space and see the size of it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is a good way to turn into Marvel games as a whole, and kind of talking about you talk about Tomb Raider, and we are about to get new games. Maybe Friday, we'll see. We're Summer Games Fest, and I wanted to talk to you about Summer Games Fest, and even tomorrow we're gonna see Wolverine, right? At the State of Play. What do you think about? Are you excited? Do you know anything before tomorrow?
I mean, as far as Wolverine goes, I
Yeah,
feel like everyone knows everything, unfortunately.
totally.
But I
Yeah,
mean, with that said, there is like a major thing that
hmm,
everybody's sort of beating around the bush about
yeah.
that has not been officially revealed that I'm really hopeful for the Avengers connection. If you know, you know.
For the Avengers
Um,
connection tomorrow.
for yes,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Wolverine. I mean, it's a casting connection. I'll just say that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll take
I
that and run with it. Yeah.
I'm not. It's out there. It's out
Yeah.
there because of obviously the Insomniac data breach.
Yes.
But it's still not
Yeah.
quite kosher for me to talk frankly about it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Again, I know there's probably stuff that you do know that I don't want you to talk about because I don't want you to get in trouble at all. But are you optimistic about Venom? Where are you at on Venom? If you know stuff, you know.
well, I will say, generally speaking, my Marvel Games connections are pretty insular. Like
Hmm.
first of all, Marvel Games has, I'd say, sort of different pillars. They have like the AAA space and the mobile space and the whatnot. And there's not a, I mean, there's definitely crossover there, but not a ton of it.
Hmm.
So projects can, I mean, I, Tolkien for me was the big one that I knew about
Hmm.
in advance that I was excited for. I was so excited back when I knew it as Project House,
Okay.
and
Cool.
I've been excited for that one for a while.
Yeah.
As far as Venom goes, couldn't tell you. The
Yeah.
AAA space, I've heard very little. I've
It's a
heard
weird
very
project.
little.
It's a weird project in the sense of like of course, we could go from a place of talking about the breaches of Insomniac and how I sat here and felt like an asshole reading it for like 3 hours, right? And just looking at everything, because
I
I'm
wish
nosy.
I couldn't say same. I
Yeah.
wish I couldn't say same.
But Miller, that was your jam,
Yeah.
the sense of just
Actually, it's funny. That's actually a really good point because when that data breach happened, I was still not official and I chose not to cover it. And
yeah.
it was and that was the first time I think I had ever been like, I don't know.
That one felt weird.
And
It felt bad, and I even felt bad. Like, I didn't talk about it. I mean, you have of course, way bigger community, and I think it just felt a little bad covering that because I felt bad for all of those individuals and those jobs, and just it sucks.
well, I think I think it was one thing at the time to speculate about what this would lead to and how it would impact Wolverine and the studio, because there were people that were like, "Oh, just cancel the game." Though they're going to cancel the game, you know what I mean?
That's
Speculation was running rampant, but now I think we're at a point, even though the game hasn't launched, where we can at least, to some extent, scope out how that impacted our perception of the game. And actually, that casting connection, I think, is the big one.
Yeah.
Is that there was like a placeholder model of a female character that has been like widely disseminated now by people in very poor faith. And yeah, I don't know that if I had contributed to that, I would now regret it for sure. So I'm glad I made the call that I did.
Yeah, no, me too. I also think to add to the leak, it's just like everybody's like social security and all their personal info got leaked, and it felt muddied, right, to even discuss that. But yeah, the female lead is extremely interesting. I do know, but I don't know if they're gonna show it. I don't know if they're gonna talk about it or if we'll even see it until the game.
I would think that would be it. I would think that would be the big like ace in their sleeve. They haven't talked about it yet. Yeah. Big trailer. What's it gonna? I mean, I think about Spider-Man 2, and their big deep dive. What was it, like 13-minute presentation?
Yeah.
And a lot of that was centered around Venom. Yeah. And so I think the stage is set. It's Peter and Miles, and this is how you switch between them, and they're both in the field. I think there's just such a clear parallel between Wolverine and right. So I that's what I'm hoping for, at least. And also because I'm luckily mutuals with that actress who I adore very much, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, you're just excited for her. Yeah, I can't lie and say that I love a shared universe. I would say I'm a slut for a shared universe, in fact. So I want to see Spider-Man. I want to see Wolverine. I want to see all of these characters connect. I also, Miller, it's so funny talking to you because I love, I don't want to say I love live service games, but I love.
Oh, let's be honest with ourselves. I think we do. I think we're the problem.
Yeah, no, I'm the problem in the sense of like you give me superhero slop and I'm gonna eat it, right? But I don't think Marvel Avengers was slop. I just love the idea of getting all of these characters. Marvel Rivals is, I think that it was a beautiful steak, and I've eaten so much of that steak to where like I don't, I'll revisit it because I'm a comic book nerd. But it's like I've had the steak for so long, right? You can only enjoy a steak for so long in the sense of like I'll come revisit it and I I love it. But anyway, my point is that the Great Web, the live service game, the Spider-Man game that got canceled. What were your thoughts on that? I mean, I think that's very you coded, right? So
I think Marvel Rivals kind of shows that there is an appetite for that among Marvel fans. I don't know, though. I mean, I feel like we talk a lot in gaming about when something fails, learning the right lesson. Like, they're going to have the wrong takeaway from this. Yeah. And so I when you look at, say, Guardians of the Galaxy and how many people say it was Avengers' fault, people just chalked it up to another Avengers. When I've always said, and I maintain, they had premium E3 slots. Like, they were showing that game, and we saw it, and people said, I don't like this. You know what I mean? Like, I put it down to the marketing, frankly. I think they had ample opportunity to differentiate it, and I think if not differentiated, sort of prove its value, and I think they failed to do that. But again, the takeaway is, Avengers. And so I think something like Arrivals was probably very felt very dangerous at the time
Hmm.
that we're bumping all this money into a live service Marvel game when we've just been proven people don't want that.
Yeah.
And now you've sort of got this conflicting, oh wait, people actually do. And there's a lot of, I think, conversations now in the Rivals community about would you be playing this game if it wasn't a Marvel game?
Yeah.
And it's interesting too because I don't think there is enough of a diehard Marvel fandom today to support Rivals to the numbers that it has. If you look at
Mm.
not just the PC numbers but like the console numbers, which are insane,
Yeah.
um, that's bigger than the Marvel fandom. You know what I mean? That's so
Right.
many casuals.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Marvel is the secret sauce for them. So I
Mm.
mean, I
That's
don't
a
know.
good.
I mean, this is why I'm here and that's why they're there. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
I try to have some uh sense of my size in the matter and I mean I don't know. I'd be very curious to go through their market research on the subject, but
On Marvel Rivals research or market.
yeah, no, I
Okay.
mean
Yeah.
the brand.
Yeah.
Moreover,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, actually, it's funny. That's one thing getting into the Marvel game space that was the most appetizing for me was getting to learn the under the hood secret, the stuff you really never hear about.
Hmm.
And
What
it's
is some of
been
that? What do you? I mean, what are you?
oh,
Which
I mean, I
I know you've
remember.
talked about a lot of this. So if you feel like you're rehashing information you've talked about with somebody else, feel free.
Oh no, no. I mean, I'm the funny thing is like it goes by me so frequently
Yeah.
that it starts to blend in and I have to actually sit down and think and parse like okay, what were those really juicy bits?
Yeah.
I would say the relationships between the different parties like Marvel Studios and
Hmm.
Marvel Games and when they do like a crossover, how does that actually work? And I was talking to someone recently about, for example, Baymax. Is that something that you
Mm.
could do if you wanted? And what would that look like? And is there like a profit sharing thing there? And learning about that kind of like nitty gritty, how the hot dog is made. Oh my gosh, that's been so fascinating. But
That's your jam. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, no, I
Yeah.
mean, because I, I mean, how like I mean Marvel Rivals operates at such a breakneck pace that it's been very difficult for them to keep secrets. Like if you look
Yeah.
recently, I mean I don't know how much I should go into this, but if you look back recently at the Hellfire Gala 2026 and we had that Emma Frost costume come out.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of controversy about that costume, and it was on the roadmap as not concept art for the first time ever, but the spray and also the it perhaps seemed a little rushed. And then it came out, and it was very obvious the MVP animation and the emote are pulling from a different Emma Frost Hellfire Gala look.
Mm.
Like it seems like to like a layman that something happened. Like I mean, they don't have the luxury of covering
Just being
their
able
tracks,
to
for
yeah.
lack of a
Yeah.
better
Yeah. Yeah.
word. So I mean, a lot of the just under the surface mysteries are way more exposed than I think anyone would like. But as far as like the real behind the scenes stuff, that's still like the golden goose, and
Yeah.
it's been a treat to
I
get
bet,
there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what I always say is like I went to school to study journalism and am right now is to be able to learn things that people don't know about because I want to know things that people don't know
Right.
about. So I love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's that curiosity
yeah,
that really drove me here.
yeah,
And so it's been a real full circle moment to be able to dot those I's and cross those T's.
yeah,
Actually, you asked earlier if it's difficult not to talk about that stuff.
yeah.
And it is.
Hmm.
It definitely is. Like, I mean, when we talk about that Emma Frost thing in particular, that's like that's a no-go for me. Like, do
Yeah,
not have that conversation.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
and not because it's something ridiculous or damaging or whatever, just because that's not the messaging that they want to convey. It's simple PR. But it's nevertheless fascinating.
Were you talking to people internally and they're like, "Hey, you can't say that," or is it just like a your self balance?
It's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I've gotten in a little bit of trouble a few times, but I mean it's been extremely minor. And it's mostly just been like a pointing it out and laughing. Like as if to tacitly say like that's as far as you go. But and at the same time, I definitely am mindful not to get to that point. I know where the line is. It's been made abundantly clear. So like most of the time I don't need a reminder, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. And I mean, they have to know working with you. I mean, they know your background, they know where you came from, and I make it sound like but I mean, you're wonderful, right? Like that, there's a reason that so many people follow you, and I mean, now you are the biggest Marvel Rivals coverage. I mean, right? Like that, people come to you for news, which is
I'm the
crazy.
biggest name,
Yeah,
which is
I have your
yeah, like
notifications on. Funny, and I've kept them on. I have them on Twitter, which is so funny.
yeah, no, I mean I stopped like personality posting, like
Yeah.
doing anything outside of news on that account. I'd say like once I hit like 50K, I was like, okay, people aren't coming for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, you've got like a YouTube channel, let's say, or whatever, and you do like variety stuff, and then
Mhm.
something takes off, and you focus on that. Tale as old as time. It's not something that I mourn. I just made a different account to talk about other stuff.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's it. I know that, yeah, that's what people come to me for, and they know what people come to me for. And it's been very fascinating having conversations with them about my platform the scant few times we've
Mhm.
had them. Because so much of it is unsaid. Like again, like I operate very freely. Like it's been very few conversations that have ever even hinged on like, what are you doing? Like that's too far. But of course, that's again because I don't try and test the limits.
Yeah.
Um, I it's funny actually to be in a situation where it's like there's questions about that I need to come up with answers because I have questions about it still, frankly.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's I don't think it's the final version of what it's going to be.
Yeah,
I
that's kind
think
of
I'm
where I want to pivot. It's like, yeah, I mean, what is next for
yeah.
you? What do you want next for you? Um,
I
Again,
to be
I know
honest
you
with
can't
you,
talk about a big thing, and you were up all night last night, which you kind of alluded to before we started
oh,
recording. Um, and I'm sure
well, I mean, there's always something happening.
totally, yeah.
I mean, what do I want next?
Hmm.
To be honest, I haven't thought about it, and I've been trying to force myself to think about that. I try to. I mean, even in the Avengers time, I remember making a conscious effort to, open a window as the door closes.
Mm,
And I'm still very cognizant of that, of the next step. I find myself frequently saying like, "Well, you never know what's next.
yeah.
Rivals isn't going to last 100 years."
It might,
Like, I mean, all good things come to an end.
yeah.
I mean, it's something rival specific. Every
Mhm.
live service game will ultimately die,
Yeah.
as will we. Like it's gonna happen.
I'm
But
supposed to live
so
forever, Miller. I don't die. Come on.
I mean, it's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
So I try to, but there's only so much planning that you can do.
Hmm.
I mean, like I learned that's the thing. I learned about Rivals a month before its announcement.
Mm,
Um, and now here I am.
yeah.
Um, Sometimes it sort of just happens.
Yeah. And it does
But
happen.
I'm hoping this evolution through Rivals makes it happen a little easier next time because that was oh, the Suicide Squad days weren't fun.
Yeah, I mean, let's go into that. I mean, because I remember I was watching your stream, and you were playing on PC, and it kept crashing.
Oh
Right? Is that
no, you
it?
were there for that. That was
I
the death of it for me.
Miller, I've been here. I've been following you for a very long time. I mean, starting from Avengers, I've watched a lot of your stuff, and I've been in your streams, and it makes me sound weird, but I just think you're so smart, and people need to pull the strings from your mind. Yeah, what was Suicide Squad for you? Can you sum that up? That was a very weird. That was like the in between, sort of, right? Like,
It was a beautiful mess. I mean,
yeah.
I think that game owes Avengers more than they are comfortable admitting.
Hmm.
But also I think, especially now, never would, or even acknowledge it again, probably.
Yeah.
Like I mean, when Mrs. Freeze came out, for example, they still to this day have never formally acknowledged who voiced that character. Like
just
they,
so bizarre. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's so. I mean, by the time Mrs. Freeze came out, they were just like, we just need to get this out. Like, we need to move on. I mean,
yes. I mean, I mean, there's two factors at play there. One was, yes, they did have an off ramp, and we're sort of hoping to get to that point, and then their hand was forced, and they had to off ramp even earlier. Um, but also, was the sort of temperature in the community and who was dominating the conversation at that point, and how any time they would reach out to the community, like how that would go, that they just couldn't subject it. Like it would have been like inhumane
yeah,
to subject people to that, and so they weren't going to do it. I mean, I remember before Mrs. Freeze was announced, right before, the voice actress had said, so I'm working on a thing. It might be like they tweeted it. It might be kind of controversial. So just sort of, like look out for me. Like
just because of the
try
gender swap for the
stay
character.
positive. Yeah, and
Yeah.
also, there was a lot of like the anti-woke crowd definitely sort of had Suicide Squad in its sights before that had even
Yeah.
come up.
Which is
And
bizarre.
so,
I find it so strange. I'm like, it's the multiverse, guys. That is what cuts it. It's like, guys, just accept it.
I mean, it's funny. I've had conversations with different people coming out of Suicide Squad in terms of like dev alumni and
Mm-hmm.
taken their um account of how it all went down. And I think some people have grievances
Mm.
with the final product in terms of who those characters were in ways that aren't completely dissimilar to the community. It is an unfortunately nuanced discussion. Um and it's for not mine to have, but well, I find it fascinating, but in the same breath, there are certain people that still were like casualties of that, and that could not celebrate their work and weren't given that
Mm.
opportunity,
Well, let me ask
which,
you. Let me ask you this, Miller.
yeah.
Because I want to know. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about what I'm about to say, and I want to get my mind and take it out. Is that this is my read on that whole situation? Is that, again, I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, but this is definitely how I read it. Is that Sefton Hill wanted this game made? I'm gonna say the thing that I believe, and I want you to correct me. Is Sefton
Uh-huh.
Hill wanted this game made? Um, and there was a live service push, but from what I know, is that is what he wanted, and that's what he pushed for, and then it just didn't go well, and then he left the studio and opened his own. And then it kind of fell on a lot of people, and a lot of people blamed Rocksteady. And it is a ship of Theseus. It was a ship of Theseus, right? Like, you have all of these people working on a game that's
Right.
not really Rocksteady. And not that I'm not the type of person to be like, it's this one guy's fault, but it does feel like not a lot of people do blame Sefton Hill for what happened. So, I mean, what is your read on that?
Well, I mean, to the best of my recollection,
Mhm.
there's sort of a collective blame. WB leadership,
Yeah.
I think, throughout the entire process were completely clueless. If I recall correctly, it was them that pushed on the guns angle.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't think anybody at Rocksteady was happy with that. Like, I mean, it's easy to look at the final product and say, like, who do we blame? But
Totally.
it was a perfect storm of a lot of different bad decisions,
Mhm.
and those bad decisions you cannot all attribute to one party. And so I think there's definitely blame in the Sefton Hill camp. But I mean, again, like one of the major criticisms was like, what the hell's with the guns? The characters are sort of interchangeable.
Yeah.
There's no identity between them in combat. This does not read like an Arkham game to me. And Rocksteady pushed against that. And it's my understanding that it was WB Brass that were mostly behind the guns thing.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, their cluelessness up until the launch, I still mystifies me. That the amount of money that they put into that marketing campaign with oh, I'm forgetting his name, but the actor who played BoJack Horseman, and they did this whole like live action commercial thing. It was so expensive,
Yeah.
and they were completely caught off guard by the sales figures,
Are
which
you just meaning like WB was very clueless of what was actually happening and like what the read on it was?
they had no idea what the game was, how people were going to react to it. they were on an island, and I will never understand their approach. I mean, there was a WB. I think at that point he was like a former executive, but only by a few months. Like he had
Mhm.
just left WB, and he was very active on Twitter when Suicide Squad came out.
Yeah,
And
I
I,
remember that. Yeah.
yeah, and he said some stuff he shouldn't have said, and there was like, I think that some of the key points that I remember taking away from him were that if the launch sales figures, which were like, I think in the realm of like what what 007 First Light is looking at right now,
Hmm.
where it's like good, not gonna set the world on fire. And also the problem was the second like month fall off and the terrible word of mouth, and that killed it. But just the launch figures alone was like, if that was the ballpark we were looking for, we shouldn't have even spent half of what we spent on that game.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, then there was just complete like asleep at the wheel. Nobody knew what this. I mean, that's a complete failure.
Yeah.
Like the whole chain of command.
007, by the way, is awesome. Very off topic, but
It looks fun.
what a video game. I cannot get enough of it. But I mean, what do you think is next for Rocksteady? I mean, of course we kind of know, and we know that they are working on a Batman game. You think that leadership has learned their lesson? Because I asked that because there's been this rumor circulating. I don't think it's particularly true, but that, there is going to be a competitor to Rivals with a DC game. Oh, you laugh.
I mean, here's the thing. I think every time DC has tried that, it's always been just a cheaper copy.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at Marvel Snap.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Snap blew up the mobile space. It was the biggest thing since sliced bread when that came out. And then they farted out that, like, what was it, DC Dual Force? And
It was
that
on mobile, right? And there wasn't even a PC port.
Oh no, it got the PC port, if I recall.
Really? I didn't even know
Yeah,
that.
they were competing in the same places that Snap was. They wanted in. And it was a joke. It was dirt cheap. I mean, I look at it actually, I liken it to what Avengers was to Destiny, which was, we want to make that with 1/3 of the people.
Mm-hmm.
And like, that's never going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would be stunned. Again, I don't have a lot of connections over at DC, but I would be stunned if they actually showed up ready to compete. I think maybe they will show up, but I I I just can't imagine them spending the money that would necessitate actually competing in that space.
Do you think James Gunn and Peter Safran actually? A lot of people seem to think that they have a lot of directive over WB Games and the DC side, but I wouldn't think so. But a lot of people do think that they're kind of in charge of that. But I don't. Do you know anything?
It's hard for me to say. I mean, I know Gunn like acknowledged Suicide Squad around its release, and the implication at the time was like stuff passed his desk, and he was like, yeah. Like, I don't know how much of a like how boots on the ground he is there, but it could be that he has a pet project that he's very passionate about in that space that he's tried to make happen. I hope so. I find him an intriguing creative. I think he could do something interesting in that space.
Yeah, I mean, he wants Superman. As you can see, I love Superman. But he's talked about how he will appear in games and how they do want to open that.
That's the rumor right now with Lego, right? That the next Lego game could be Superman.
I would cry, and that would be the best thing that could ever happen to me. So, yeah.
I mean, I feel like we'll be in a very different life at that point, considering how long that's probably going to take.
Yeah, and after Lego Batman, so.
Yeah, it's a very early stage for that to come out, if indeed it is true.
Are you sorry? Did you? I think I misheard you. Did you say there is a Superman game, or it's going to be a Lego Superman game?
Oh no, I just heard a rumor in passing. Not from any credible sources.
No, yeah. Of a Superman or Lego Superman?
Lego Superman.
Lego Super. Okay, yeah, no, I've seen the same thing. I mean, there's always going to be the Superman game rumor that is.
Oh, of course.
Will
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm very unfortunate for TT if indeed that is real, and that's something that they were planning on pushing out in 5 years.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
want
going to be a
I want a
very
Spider
rabid fan
Man.
base.
I want a Lego Spider Man game too. I think that would be really rad.
I was sad to see Lego move away from Marvel.
Yeah.
And yeah, Disney moreover, even, especially now that they have the
Mhm.
Fox stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, I would
Lego
love to
Marvel
see them
Heroes
have that.
is awesome. The second one, I love that game. I think it's incredible.
I mean, I think like Lego Infinity Saga, I think has been a dream project in a few people's minds for a couple years now, you know?
Have you played
It,
Lego
it would be
Batman?
nice to see it happen. No, I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Okay.
Oh gosh, I don't get to play as much as I would like. I picked up a couple games recently that have been on my list for a while,
Hmm.
and I say that I'm chipping away at them. I think I have clocked 2 hours in each.
What are those
Like
games?
I'm Dragon Quest 3
Oh,
HD.
very good. I just beat it
Um,
about 2 months ago. Very good.
nice.
Yeah.
I'm loving it so far. Hour two.
Yeah.
Um, and oh gosh. Sorry, I'm just like
No,
running to
you're good.
remember what it was. Oh, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Very good. Yeah,
Finally.
very good.
I mean, I'm very late to the party on both.
It's
I've
fine.
been struggling to keep up with gaming. It's weird when this stuff sort of like becomes your job.
Hmm.
Your idea, it's not as relaxing to do it as it once was,
Yeah.
and so I try to make time, and I do, but I mean, I definitely gamed more like 8 9 years ago than I do now, unfortunately.
Before I let you get out of here, because I have kept you for a while. Do you see yourself like staying where you're at? Again, I know you can't talk about it, but do you see yourself, whatever you're interacting with, do you see yourself as that kind of the future of you? And I know we've talked about that, but like, or do you want to go back to being able to play games all the time?
I mean, it's hard. I When I started, the I was very like, I am Miller Ross. Here is my face.
Hmm.
I'm not like Zaboomafoo 315. Like I'm Miller. I'm always gonna be Miller. Here's Miller.
Yeah.
And that was very weird in like the leak space because there was this sort of perception that like they're gonna come after you
Mm.
and you sort of don't want to attach your name to that. You're unemployable in the industry forever.
Yeah.
And I sort of embraced that too because I was like, who am I? Again, I have no background in any of these fields. It was never going to happen for me anyways. So why not? Now I think there's a lot of people in that space that are very big on their identity
Mm.
and even their name and face. And not as if to say that I like beat some of these people to the punch, but it was
No, no.
certainly, 6 years ago, it was definitely a different beast. And I've always felt consistently through because I've talked to a lot of these guys too, like Tom Henderson
Mm.
and oh my God, I've been so bad at remembering names
Is it
today.
Paul Tassi is
Um,
sort of in that
oh
same
well,
camp?
Paul Tassi,
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to meet very
Mm.
quickly.
Yeah,
Um,
he seems
uh,
very sweet. I like a lot of the stuff that he has to say.
yeah, I mean everybody has been so nice behind the scenes.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean I've reached out to them and tried to make contact with them because
Mhm.
every time that I've ever needed emotional support doing this, I'm like,
Mhm.
I have no one in this field that I know who's sort of doing what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And now I think that's like twofold. I definitely think nobody's doing what I'm doing now, and it's it's always scary.
Yeah.
Like I try to wonder what the next step will be, but whenever I think about that, excuse me, if I look back at all the times that I've thought that, what ended up becoming the next step was something that I never could have predicted because nobody did it.
Mm.
And so I try to set myself up as best I can for what's to come, but I can never predict it.
Yeah. Yeah, you
And
can only take one day at a time. And I'm
yeah,
26
no, I
and I've
mean,
learned that, right? Like I'm relatively young and I'm not even done with college, but, yeah, I mean, I've learned that, right? Like you will always feel like you're on an island for the most part. I think when you're kind of just like not nose to the grindstone, but, um, it's very
it's
scary
really just the uniqueness of
of what you're
my
doing.
platform.
Yeah.
Like I'm friends with a lot of streamers and YouTubers and they very much feel supported by that network of contacts that they
Mhm.
have in this industry because they're all doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do I navigate this problem? How do I do this? And people jump to each other's defense, and it's great. And I I feel very isolated in that sense, more than ever. But as well, it's extremely exciting because there are doors open for me that I never could have anticipated.
Mhm.
And who knows what the future holds,
Yeah.
which is, I think something, especially in like the age of AI,
Mhm.
it's, I don't know that there's a lot of that going around,
Yeah.
you know?
That
So
makes me
I
happy
feel very
for you.
blessed.
Yeah, I mean, you deserve it. I mean, you've worked your ass off. I think I've seen it, and so many people have seen it, and you're extremely passionate about these things. So, it makes me very
I
happy
mean,
to hear that.
it's funny because when my platform started, I was very personal.
Mhm.
Like as an extension of here's my face was like here's my life. And
Mm.
here's everything about me, and I didn't care, and I was an open book. And I think as you go more corpo, that sort of necessitates pulling back. But I feel like I don't know if it's aging or if it's just the climate has changed
Mm.
as it pertains to creators, especially in the comic space, that I feel now this desire to pull back almost.
Why
That
why
I'm
why
like,
is that? Do you think?
uh, well, there's a few things. One, I can say less than I could before. I can't be completely open anymore.
Mm.
You know, I'm under an NDA. So
Mhm.
there's just the I have to be wary of situations where
Mm.
I imply or say more than I should. You know, the more opportunities you have to talk, the more opportunities you have to put your foot in your mouth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know, so I try and curb that.
Mhm.
But also too, I mean, the bigger I think also the bigger you get, the more enemies that you get, you know, the more people don't like you just by nature of things.
Mhm. Yeah.
But also again, I really think there's something to the climate has changed in this space. Like I mean, I think about the content creator sort of sphere 6 years ago, and drama was the lifeblood. But drama, the worst drama was like somebody copy struck someone, and it
Yeah.
was, and it would be World War III. How dare you? That breaks the code. You know, there's this unwritten like we don't do that. And nowadays, I mean, I'm not trying to get you demonetized, but
No, no, you're
nowadays
fine.
everybody's a pedophile. Like
Mm.
everybody's going to prison,
Yeah.
like everybody's under investigation by the FBI. Like
Well, I mean,
if
you see it
I
with the Lego guy, right? The Lego video that's gone viral. I don't know if you've heard
yes,
of. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a perfect
like I
example.
mean it's the temperature is so high, and if somebody doesn't like you, it's no longer just like you're fat, you're ugly, I don't like you, like you're stupid. Now it's like here's your mom's social security number.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
like
scary.
and the bar to reach that is so much lower than it has ever been,
Hmm.
that it's like it's I don't want like my grandma to get pizzas delivered to her house. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Totally.
you know, like that's really an angle here. Like,
Hmm.
it's scary a
It's
little
very
bit.
scary. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just scary. Yeah. I mean, like the internet has changed so much, and now it's just literally in our blood. I mean, of course, metaphorically,
Mhm.
but I mean, it might be literally one day, right? With Neuralink and whatever, like it is a part of us, and their information is everywhere. And I think you raise a good point, is that I think it is good to lean back and not have your camera on, like you say, and like have these things, right? Like it's very scary. And I don't want your grandmother to get pizzas delivered to her house. I don't want
You
my
know,
grandmother to get pizzas to her house.
right? She can't eat that much pizza. She's
Right.
on a fixed income.
Yes. Yes.
Like it's spooky. But I
Yeah.
mean, I think also like I owe my platform to, like, I think my platform is a symptom of that problem, was that I had this fearlessness coming in, is that I'm like, it's COVID, we're all gonna die, who cares, there's more important things in the world.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna talk about secrets about this video game that they don't want you to know, and who cares,
Yeah.
and was like, you know, my big achievement, I guess. Oh god. but
Uh,
but I really think that fearlessness is what has led to this culture now.
mhm.
Is that like, yeah, I'm gonna dox you, I'm gonna swat you, I don't care. We could all die. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I really think it sort of comes from the same place, this hopelessness, as I think our economic
Mm.
situation gets worse culturally, as global conflicts continue to ignite. There's a real hopelessness in the populace that leads to all kinds of BS, of
Yeah.
which I am one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. Karma had its kiss for me ultimately, I think.
Yeah, no, I am a very optimistic type of person, which is crazy being in this field and wanting to do this for a living. It's easy to be pessimistic, but my girlfriend is definitely more pessimistic than me, which is good. She keeps me grounded. But
Mm,
yeah, like it's very tough being optimistic because it's tough. Like it's one of my weaknesses, right? Because I'm like, no one would ever hurt me, or like no one would ever, and then you do get these comments on a Colin Moriarty video, and it's like, man, I'm never gonna be able to do this. And that's not true, right? Like that's not true at all. But I'm very bad, I'm very sensitive, and I get in my head about these things. So
mm. It's a lot.
yeah,
It's a lot. Like, it feels like another planet sometimes.
yeah.
And I don't, I mean, like, when I talk about like taking a step back, the end goal for that is not like to be gone, you know?
Hmm.
I just need to put up some walls, which I never did, and I was never cognizant of that. And I would be like, I remember I like IRL streamed and I went and like picked up my medication
Mm,
from the pharmacy. Like, I was like I walked into my building like before,
yeah.
and this was at a point when I already had beef with a convicted felon.
Oh, was this
So
on
like,
Twitch?
yes,
Mm,
yes.
oh, wow.
So like, I mean, it's I've played with fire,
Yeah,
but I mean, it's just about the shortest of walls. Anything like, you gotta put up
yeah,
some, like, I mean, it's funny. I used to look at it as something admirable to be so open and so pure
mhm,
that you could be, like, you have nothing to hide. Like, you're not a bad person.
yeah.
Blah. Here's everything. It was like a purity test for me to an extent, but
Did you have people like I don't know what word would I use, like try to affect you with that? Is that why you pushed back? Like, did you have people contact
no,
you?
that's the
No.
thing.
Okay, good,
That's
good,
the
good,
thing.
good.
Never. Like, I mean, again, like, I had I mean, I won't name names, but I
Yeah.
did have like a feud for a while with a convicted felon.
Mm,
And I remember, and that was year one for me. And I
yeah.
remember even
Mm,
then being like, could this blow up in my face? Like,
yeah.
is this something that I want to put any, because I tried to ignore it for a long time. Like, my initial was like, back off, don't feed into it.
Hmm.
But you reach a certain point where you kind of can't help yourself.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that ultimately let me do it was like, well, he's a convicted felon in the US, so he couldn't legally cross the border. And I'm in Canada, so I'm
Oh,
like,
right. Yeah, yeah,
eh.
yeah. That's true. Yeah.
And like, he was like agoraphobic, like doesn't really leave the
Mm,
house. So I'm like, I think I'm fine.
you'll be fine.
But
Yeah.
hey, I
And
mean,
now you're
I mean,
here, and you're doing
well,
great. So
I mean, it's different though now. It's
yeah.
different. Like, I was gonna quote that Ivy Woke video, but I shouldn't. Like, people are outside. Like, you never know.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very different space than it used to be. Like, people, um, I mean, I watch it happen now
Yeah.
to people. It's World War III out there. It's nuts.
Before I let you go, I know I said that 20 minutes ago. Do you think this is my last question. Do you think that on that topic, do you think that things will come into play to where to like fix that? Do you think, or do you think it will just get worse?
I think, I don't know. I mean, I think it will definitely get worse. I
Hmm.
don't know if it's got to get worse before it gets better,
Yeah.
kind of deal. Like, I don't know if that's the price we'll pay for it to get better. But like, I mean, there's definitely going to be, I mean, I don't want to be too morbid, but
It's
like,
fine. Go
I'm
for it.
sure there's going to be like an IRL streamer out there that like gets like murdered.
Mm. Yeah, I'm.
You know what I mean?
It
Like,
surprises me that it hasn't happened. I mean, there's been
I
awful
mean,
things that have happened,
that
but
that Chud the Builder guy like got in a shootout. You know what I mean? Like, I really thought. Like, I mean, just when I saw the first couple pieces of his content, I'm like, well, he's going to be the first one to go.
Well, and there's the
And
I don't know the name. I should, but the
oh,
guy
he's this
like
like notorious oh, you mean somebody else?
no, it's that guy, the notorious, it's the racist guy, right? Like saying the N word and
Yes.
yeah, that
Yes.
guy. Yeah, I'm convinced. I don't know this guy, and I shouldn't speak my opinion, but I'm convinced it's like not real. That's how optimistic I am. I'm like, you're not really
I
like
mean,
this. You just do it for
that
clicks, right? Like,
well, that's the thing. I mean, actually, it was funny. Actually, watching your interview with Colin Moriarty,
mhm,
that was one thing that I kept thinking was like, it's hard to judge that sort of like anti-woke movement on the whole because there are really two camps there. Like people throw the word grifter around a lot
yeah,
and it's lost all meaning, but you can't let that word go because it's so important that there are true believers in that movement and there are people who are just there for the check.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that they are grifting, they don't care. Like it's all an act. Their heart's not in it. They just see and hey, I mean like people have done stupid shit to get famous before and
yeah,
they're gonna do it long after I'm gone.
yeah.
So I mean it's I mean I am judging it, but
And
you
yeah,
know,
and
like
it might be a place of like
tale as old as time.
we've just never seen it in the gaming space, and now it's just
But that
so easy to do that, right?
but when it comes to that, like the guy, I gotta say true believer because he like got in a shootout over it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like once the gun comes out, I feel like the grifter is like, I'm gonna go flip a burger. You know,
yeah.
it's
I'm gonna do
getting a
something
little
else.
too real.
Yeah,
And that's yeah, that separates the grifters, I think.
hmm
It's I don't know. It's but I mean, yeah, we talk about like the movement and sort of mystify it as like, oh, this thing is happening. But that's really what it is. It's like a bunch of extreme people with extreme ideologies that are now at center stage in the this culture of creators,
yeah,
and it has led to insane fan bases and insane circumstances where people are like literally getting shot like on the streets.
yeah.
Like it's you know, and don't get me wrong, I don't think that's gonna happen to me. Like, but I mean, like again, I was talking about grandma getting the pizzas. That's absolutely like up on the table.
Yeah, it could
It's
totally happen. I mean, it only takes one person, right? Like that's the
right.
scary part. So, yeah,
Right. I mean, I can think about people like creators I know who've been swatted, who have probably had less controversy than me, and I
yeah,
don't have much.
yeah.
Like, I mean, it yeah, it really does just take one person, and I think it's to an extent the price you pay,
It's a
and
part
then
of it. Yeah,
that's not to say that it's at all excusable.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, like to be in this situation where I'm like, that's the reality of it. Do I continue? Yes, is sort of the bargain that I am making.
hmm
In the same way that, you get into a car and somebody could be a lunatic and blow a red and you know what I mean? We make these decisions, unfortunately.
yeah.
Oh God, I hope that's not a terrible thing to say,
No, no,
but
no. Again, Miller. This is what I want from you. I love this. I love being able to pick your mind about kind of why you've come back a little bit. And like
yeah, I mean, I'm
from your
looking at
face.
like VTubing right now.
Yeah.
And I had this idea before because I was very inspired by like Code Miko
Mm,
and like emerging tech in like the mocap space
yeah.
and miniaturizing it and making it like something that you can do in the home. And like the genesis of that era I found so fascinating that I wanted in because like I mean as much as I enjoy rivals and whatnot, when I do like when I try and do like a Twitch live stream, I know that I've sort of betrayed this like in the last year because I really only end up doing Q&As.
Yeah.
But my desire in going into that space is to make like entertaining content
Yeah.
and and finding something new and like I can scratch that itch just fine on Twitter. Like I don't for me need to do it twice.
Yeah.
And so I've long wanted to do something new with the
Mhm.
stream, and I did like the IRL marathon thing for like 7 months, and that was very fun and different, and I'm glad I did that because I would probably never do that again.
Yeah.
But but I mean, so it's nice that I've had this sort of idea in mind, and I'm working towards it now, and I've got an incredible artist, and I'm hoping to have something to show
Cool.
for it soon.
Yay. Wait,
But
that's so exciting. I'm very excited to check out that. That's very exciting.
but yes, it is also like a bit of a safety, like a
Yeah,
security blanket kind of
totally.
thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Miller, thank you. Thank you so much for everything, and I'm so excited to be able to see what you're gonna do. I think genuinely my heart says it's gonna be amazing, and I think you're awesome. So thank you.
You have flattered the hell out of me
No,
this whole time.
I no, but I really mean it. Like I wouldn't hear and just blow smoke
No,
up
I
your
believe
ass.
you.
Like I think that
And
you
that
genuinely have done something cool on the internet. So
it's always surreal to me to it'll never not be weird to hear that. Like you have to I mean,
totally, yeah.
it yeah, like I think the disconnect is like I'm ultimately just some guy in my room.
Aren't we
And
all? We all? Like look around
I'm
me,
learning that.
So
I'm learning
yeah,
that.
we all are.
You
Yeah.
know?
Hmm.
It took me a while to get that point, but I think you're
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Um, no, thank you so much for having me.
Of
It's been a
course.
pleasure.